Hi, this is Christian Jones, and you're listening to the Pro Marketer podcast, where whether you're in the tax compliance and preparation, tax resolution, accounting, or any of the other many slices of our crazy tax and accounting industry, we're going to bring to you tools and strategies to market and build your practice like a pro. And we have a distinct pleasure today to have one of only, this is our second repeat guest. He did such a good job. We had to bring him back. Roger Knecht with the Universal Accounting Center and also his own podcast, Building the Premier Accounting Firm. He's been around. Yeah, there it is, right above him. He's been helping accountants and bookkeepers and tax preparers start and build their own successful accounting firms, getting the training, certifications, and coaching that they need to become the profit and growth experts for their clients as the premier accounting firm in their area. And Roger, welcome back to the Pro Marketer podcast.
Well, it's my pleasure. I appreciate the opportunity. Just speaking to you and your group is just going to be a pleasure and an honor. So I appreciate this. This is going to be great.
Yeah, and we just had the reciprocal joy of me getting interviewed by you on your podcast, and I'm actually coming out to speak at your event,
Yes,
GrowCon, a week from now. So we've actually had a lot of interaction, and we'll have a lot of interaction in this little window. We can talk a little bit about that too, but
please.
yeah, actually, let's go there first. Roger, tell us about GrowCon. What's coming down the pike? Because this might be able to get out to people beforehand.
So GrowCon happens to be an annual conference that we do for accounting professionals. It's for those who own and operate their own accounting, bookkeeping, and tax business. As owners, we want to actually give them the information that they need to work on their business. And typically in those events, we're addressing various things related to marketing and sales, the services that they're providing, onboarding their clients, retaining their clients. We have experts come in and from the stage give us the things that we need to be aware of so that we can in fact be the premier accounting firm in the area.
Man, I'm excited to come and be at this event. This is one event I haven't been to myself. We're excited to come speak, and I've seen the roster of speakers that you guys have lined up, and that looks like a powerhouse event. But let's go back a little bit, Roger. Tell me a little bit about how you came into the Universal Accounting Center, how you got into this space, a little bit of origin story. We'll camp out there just for a half second, get people acquainted with your experience and your expertise again, and then let's get into some of the meat of our content. But how'd you get to this place, Roger?
So I started with the school about 20 years ago. In fact, 20 plus years ago. It was back in the late 90s. I was working at the time doing basically temporary placement, permanent placement, working as a headhunter. And as I got the graduates of the school and placed them on assignments, became very familiar with the school and the programs. And through that, had opportunities to do some consulting work and eventually be hired on. And it was from that initial beginning that I became employed and worked for now more than 20 years in various roles within the school. And now for the last 10 or so years, I've been the president of the company.
There we go. Okay, so you're 10 years in to being the president of the company, but you certainly didn't start there. You worked your way up, you learned the organization, you learned the industry. And that's fascinating. And how has the Universal Accounting Center changed? And just so you know, hearing Nate's podcast with you is actually about a year ago from now, which is wild, April to April. What's changed for you guys in the last decade, even since you've been a president?
It's actually quite diverse, the changes that have happened. So the company started back in 1979. And so when it began, it was a traditional school. It was obviously where you would go to a classroom setting and from an instructor, get the training that you were looking for. We've since evolved. We've shut down a number of years ago all of our campus locations around the country and have moved exclusively to a remote or online training platform. And so in those years, we've evolved quite a bit. I mean, eventually we went from classroom to VHS to DVD to streaming. I mean, that evolution is quite remarkable. But at the same time, we've been adding in curriculum, bringing in different courses, various specialties that individuals can focus on as they try to basically become for their clients that premier accounting firm in their area.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, as it goes, old tech finds its way of making its way back into being vogue. What are the chances that VHS training makes a comeback?
I doubt it very much. I don't know that anyone's going to be going out like they do with the vinyl records and trying to revitalize that kind of study. It's going to be either live or remote, I think, at this point. And we're very strong on the remote side of things. Obviously, GrowCon's a live event that we're very proud of. So both of those environments do exist for our people.
That's perfect. And I think you did just address this, but just to clarify, if I'm sitting here listening to you, who's the ideal person to come and engage with the Universal Accounting Center? Like, what type of professional in our space do you guys want to attract and work with? And then we'll get into some of the principles and core topics that we've got for today. But just so if they're listening and asking themselves, is this for me? What do you guys typically find is your businesses you work with?
Right now, there's an easy way to break it down into thirds, and I'll just give these three descriptions, and I'm sure in your audience, you'll have each of them listening in. First and foremost, we have those people that are not from an accounting background. They may have been exposed to it, introduced to it, found that they're good with numbers. Maybe through their employment, they've found opportunities to be an office manager, get some accounting responsibilities, and they realize they're very good at it and they would like to excel, but they don't have desires to go back and get a 4-year, 6-year degree. And so in order to become bookkeepers, tax preparers, and the like, they come through our training. And we're very focused and specialized in the small business accounting training that we provide. The second happens to be a person that has actually received their, let's say, their 4-year, 6-year degrees. They're out working. They've got 10, 15, 20 years of experience. But at this point, they would like to actually maybe step out and maybe offer accounting services, tax services. And in that, they just don't know, what is it that I should be pricing or charging for my services? How is it that I should actually fulfill these types of services for a small business client? And we help them understand the business elements of what it is to actually start and build a successful accounting, bookkeeping, tax related business. And then the third happens to be very successful individuals that are CPAs, enrolled agents, that would really like to actually move their career into the point that they're now in the accounting space, focusing on small business needs. And in that effort, they want to transition, kind of revisit what it is that they need to be doing as they're starting and building their business, and perhaps even training their staff. And so whether it's working with the owner, the solopreneur, or working with the owners of an accounting firm and their staff, we have all the various trainings and programs to help them build what we refer to as the premier accounting firm.
Oh, that's perfect. Thank you for that. That's super clarifying and helps. Let's lead in with probably all three of those individuals or avatars will need stuff like this from you guys, but you've got this content, this training, the certification, and just process of developing the 3 core accounting services. Tell us about that.
What we've found as we've worked with business owners and with accounting professionals is that there's oftentimes a disconnect between the description of the services being offered and what the client is feeling as if they're paying for. And so just to give you some context, I truly believe that we as an accounting profession struggle in clearly communicating to our clients what it is they're going to get for the services we provide. And so there's 3 core services. They're made up of 6 elements. Let me describe them. And then from this, we can dive even deeper if we need to. But we first have accounting and bookkeeping. The second happens to be tax planning and preparation. And the third is CFO and advisory services. And let me describe each of these very quickly. The first service that we may choose to offer is that of bookkeeping, actually preparing the financial reports and delivering to our clients in a timely manner, preferably monthly, their P&L, their balance sheet, their cash flow statement. If we're doing that right there, we may say that we're offering quality bookkeeping services. But there's a step beyond that, which is then the accounting that the client may also be paying for, which is where we take the time as a professional and we use that information to analyze it, and from that tell a story. And it's where we're going in and doing analysis where we're looking at not only trends but margins. We're taking last month and comparing it to the previous months. We're taking last month and comparing it to the same month last year. It's these types of things that we're doing to help the client actually discern what's going on in the business. We're trying to show the correlation between, let's say, cost of goods and total income. Are the costs of the goods going up that we need to do a price increase? Has inflation impacted our business that we need to be adjusting and adapting? We're looking at things such as what are the returns on investment as they're associated with advertising expenses and the total income or gross profit that's going on in the business. This assessment and analysis, that's where the accountant really starts to shine. Let's talk about tax planning and preparation. Planning, obviously, it's the strategies. It's where we're getting into the R&D tax credits, the cost segregation. It's the various things that as a tax professional, we can bring to the client to help them mitigate their tax liability. But then there's the tax preparation, filing the returns, literally preparing those returns and getting those taken care of for the client in a timely manner. Then there's the CFO and advisory services that are a little bit more higher level. But these 6 things, we get to determine as a firm whether or not we're going to offer 2 of the 6, 4 of the 6. What is it that we're going to offer our clients and have them pay for?
Yeah, which we actually run into all the time as well. A lot of people that come to TaxProMarketer similar to you are asking the question, maybe not exclusively, but a lot of times, and it's April 28th today when we're recording this. And so this is just a little bit of time past the tax filing deadline. They're asking themselves, how do I not do that I just did for the last 4 months again the same way? how do I turn my business into something that is more year round? I want to make a pivot. I've been churning out tax work and I'm tired. And it is, again, it's a one-time deal. And they're asking themselves, how do I make that transition? So that's a lovely conversation for our customer base and people that just bump into us to have. I'm glad you're having that as well. Talk about that. Do you get a lot of folks coming out of this time of year, April, and maybe they take a couple of weeks break, they find you in May and say, Roger, help me never do that again? Is that common for you guys?
Very, very common. So one of the things, as you just described it, is that tax professional that during the tax season did very well, worked very hard, was very busy, but at the end of the day saw many missed opportunities that they perhaps could have helped business owners with in just preparing their financial reports so that they could do the tax return rather than the extension that may have happened. So here the tax preparer is seeing missed opportunity upon missed opportunity that they can, now that the tax season is over, go back to and perhaps offer these bookkeeping related services. This is a new revenue stream, something to
Right.
complement the tax returns that they're doing. But the thing that I love about this is the fact that you just saw all these opportunities that you can now take and get that's not seasonal income. It's year-round income that you're going to be providing bookkeeping services month upon month upon month, and ultimately actually prepare the reports that you're needing to file the next tax return in the following year. And with this, you could also consider whether or not you want to do accounting services, as I described, where you actually are now helping the business be more strategic in what they're doing in the business, using the financial reports you're preparing in the bookkeeping capacity as you provide that accounting service as well. So yeah, a lot of tax preparers, they see the opportunity that they've passed up during the tax season, and now's the time to now get those skills and get that pricing and marketing all figured out so you can go back to those clients and say, hey, rather than you giving me these numbers in a shoebox in April or
Yes.
give them to me in March, February, why don't we go ahead and just get on top of this so that 2024 or whatever future year isn't the same?
Yeah. Well, this is probably an obvious thing to say, but especially right after busy season, and you've just had however many X amount of clients, hundreds of clients, 50 clients, whatever it is, and you just walk through all of their kind of financial details from personal to business opportunities. And if you're trained, you now have trust, you have relationship, and it's a timely follow-up to be like, hey, what just happened in terms of your return, in terms of your tax situation, and maybe the procrastination that is common in our industry. If you do want to scale or pivot or advance forward in a new direction, you already have, I mean, most of what you need. You've got customers that can become leads on this other front, and you just need to connect the dots with the training like Roger's getting into. Let's keep following that, because then there's, if I am making that pivot, Roger, or if I am scaling in a new direction, I need to map out this business. And that's the next item that I want to ask you about, mapping the business. How do you help customers of the Universal Accounting Center map that out?
I appreciate the question because this is a common question that I ask many a business owner. So when you're in a situation of running an accounting, bookkeeping, tax business, there's a difference between working in it and on it. And we've all heard the phrase, but to work on it, we do a simple exercise and we ask this question. There are three things that you can be working on in your business. It's either a challenge or an opportunity that you feel as the owner needs to be addressed. And it follows in this acronym of MAP, M-A-P. M stands for marketing and sales. Are you in a position where you would like to grow the business? You would like more clients? You would like to be busier? If that's the case, wonderful. Let's dive into and address the marketing and sales strategies that you're using to grow your company. But perhaps it's the second thing. Maybe instead of getting more clients, you actually are plenty busy with the clients you have, but you would like to actually offer more value to your clients and increase your pricing. You just don't feel you're being paid enough for the work that you're doing. The third is you don't need any more clients. You love what you're doing and you feel you're paid well. But the third is that you're just taking too much time and it's not as profitable as you thought. You'd like to do this more efficiently and be more profitable. You get to pick one of these. And so I know many people in this list of questions want to say all three apply to me. Well, you get to pick one because we're going to focus on that in the next quarter. And in those coming 3 months, either get more clients, offer more value and increase the pricing that we're asking for the services we're providing, or work on being more efficient, streamlining our processes and becoming more profitable. Which of those three is the priority in your business right now that we can put into a deliberate process to improve in the coming months? And every business owner, when I get that direct with them, is able to identify of those three, one, and then we're able to focus on it for the next little bit.
That's great. I have a random question, Roger. I didn't
Yeah.
prep. We can ignore this one if you want, but specifically to that last group, It's taking too much time. Process improvement. Let's start there. I just have a question out of curiosity more than anything. Do you already, or can you forecast how AI is going to be a part of practice improvements, both for what you do for your customers, but for our industry at large? What do you see in terms of process, time frame, efficiency? How is AI, in your opinion, either something that's viable now, might be in the future, or is not relevant?
So I think it's going to be a huge impact on what we're looking at, both in an accounting and tax capacity. So let me give you some ideas of how it's coming to fruition as I've seen it in various conversations I'm overhearing. First of all, it's going to become, I believe, an integrated part of a lot of the tools that we're currently using to do our work, the tax software, the accounting software. It's going to be integrated into those to where the AI is going to do or be at least available through questions to analyze and interpret and perhaps even do some action items. They'll actually take care of some tasks. So that's going to hopefully free up our time because some of these things can be automated, systematized, and that's wonderful because what it's going to do is allow us to get more involved in that analytical, that critical thinking capacity that I believe we're still stronger in than the AI. Now, the other thing that I would also want to suggest is as we look at our operating procedures, as it becomes more clear what the tasks are that we're performing, it will become very obvious which we can automate. So all of a sudden, if we knew that these were the specific steps or sequences that we're trying to follow, you're going to find that there are certain ones that you can create workflows through and maybe even incorporate the AI to do some analysis along the way. So I'm quite excited about it. This is going to be a very good, I presume, next 3-5 years, and a lot of changes are on the horizon.
Yeah, goodness. And from a marketing standpoint, we're not the only ones, but we feel like right now there's a lot of disruption. And that disruption it's obviously difficult. Things change. And with marketing, again, especially digital marketing, that's been the norm since really, gosh, the early 2000s. However, if I'm talking with someone, or if you're talking with someone who feels like maybe some of the fear or some of the noise that's out there, hey, AI is going to come and wipe out jobs and the need of a human in the tax and accounting space. How do you respond to that?
I could see somebody making the case that it will in time. I could see some time in the future, but oftentimes I've found that these things are a little slower to implement than some people perceive. There's late adopters. I'll just give you a case in point example. What we're looking at is the role of accounting perhaps may evolve, but it's not going to disappear. A business owner, when they're trying to actually take their accounting and perhaps use some of these tools to automate or systematize their accounting, they're going to maybe streamline their processes and their interactions with us as accounting professionals, but they're not going to get rid of us. What they're going to actually expect from us, though, is two things. One, they're going to expect that the tools we're using, the AI, that interface is something we're helping manage and oversee, meaning the business owner wants to run their business. They don't want to get into the process of having to through various interfaces, manage, control, ask questions of the AI. They're going to expect us to be doing that for them. And so we're still going to be playing that part if we've been willing enough to learn and come up to speed and help actually implement those things. The second thing is right now, the way the AI works, whether it be ChatGPT or if it's Bard or some of these other systems, or the ones that may soon be integrated into our various softwares, the accounting and tax softwares, is all of them are right now questions oriented, meaning you have to ask a question of it for it to do the analysis. If you don't put in a question, it just doesn't systematically or autonomously start doing its work. You have to engage it. And so the business owner, here's the secret, the business owner does not know what questions to ask it. That's where the accounting professional comes in. The tool is only useful if you're able to pick it up and engage it. And in order for you to pick it up and engage it, you have to ask it questions. And that's where the accounting professional is going to become so essential. We need to become better questioners. And if we can ask the right questions through the interface, we're going to get great information because it's all in there to be had if we can tap into it. But the questions are the things that unlock that information. And so we as accounting professionals need to, in the coming years, and I mean like 6 months, 18, 24, 36 months, we need to learn to become better questioners because the information will reside within the system. We just need to tap into it and get it out.
That's fascinating. And it feels like in some ways there are people that are afraid, and maybe there's some validity there long run that something will be disrupted where human jobs are replaced by robots. But I think what you just said is both massively exciting. If you're looking to pivot, if you're looking to get at the front edge, these are robust tools that no one's ever had access to before, and they're still developing, but they're developing quite quickly before our eyes. So if you're looking to pivot, to launch a new business, to scale in a new direction, and you stay in front of tools like this in the next few years, which I'm sure, Roger, you and your group, among others, will be digesting, researching, and then implementing, you could scale a business with better margins. You could do your work more quickly. You could have a ton of advantages that
Well, look
right
at it.
now. Go ahead.
Two things to be aware of. We've been saying in the accounting industry for years that there's too few people entering the profession, getting their degrees, than are leaving. And so we already know as a profession that we're at a deficit for the need that exists in the community. So as these people retire and leave the profession and have no interest in learning these new tools and technologies, it's
Right.
going to lead a lot of opportunity for those entering the profession and who remain in it. Second, because of the deficiency in the people that are admittedly coming into the profession, we need to find as professionals ways to do our work more efficiently. And this is a tool to do that very thing so that we can take on more clients, but still charge the same fees. And in doing so, do the work more efficiently. Therefore, our profit margins go up. So you're going to work with more clients, less time, same amount, if not more money. So this is beautiful. Now, one of the things that I want to point out as well is with regards to technology, the business owner, especially those that are, let's say, 35 and older, they are not in a position where this is a technology they want to learn as they run their business. This isn't why they got into business. They love what they do. They're going to expect to still outsource these accounting type needs, the tax related type needs to us. We need to be the ones utilizing these tools to minimize their tax liabilities, improve their cash flow. These are things they're going to still expect of us that we may be using the tool to accomplish, not them.
Yeah. Oh, fascinating. What a time to be in this industry and really many industries. It's going to be very disruptive. It's going to be a lot of fun. But if you stay close to the bleeding edge of what's happening, you're going to find yourself in a practice that probably, like you're saying, you have more time, you have more efficiency, you can scale more, and you've just got better tools than we've ever had before. So how exciting. Thanks for discussing with me on that.
Yeah, and I like the fact that you used the word fun. I think a natural curiosity is what really makes this quite fun and interesting. It's like childhood curiosity. If you haven't already, go get, say, for example, a Chat GPT account, go in, ask it a question, see what it responds, ask it another question, see what it says, ask it a third question about that, and just have a dialogue. Personally, it's fascinating. It's actually a very intellectually engaging conversation that you're having with a computer, but you get to ask the questions and have an intelligent conversation with this entity. It's fascinating, and you can have a lot of fun with it. So just dive in, enjoy. You can't break it.
Yes. And this also feels like maybe the opening line or opening scene in Terminator or The Matrix, but we'll talk about that another day and we'll hope for the best, right? It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Not a problem. Hey, okay, I'm now in. Okay, so I know about those core services, those 6 areas that I could address, and I get to pick one a quarter. And now I'm going to map out this business. Let's talk about success for you guys. What are the 4 keys to success for the Universal Accounting Center and your folks that go through your program?
Yeah, what I think you're referring to is I typically speak of 4 key things that are essential for someone to be a leader, someone to be successful as an individual as they're running their business. And after many years of observing, watching, kind of documenting my experiences with various successful people, I've identified what I've considered to be 4, and I've added a 5th, a bonus to it. Real quickly, we can go into each of these. The first is passion. Everybody that I know that's successful is very passionate about what they do. They bring a good deal of energy. It's contagious. People want to basically interact with them. They're drawn to them. And that passion is something that gets them through a lot of times the difficult things that come up in business. It's that thing that allows them to power through those experiences and really keep engaged and in business. So if you are losing that passion for what you have, there are certain things you can do to engage yourself again, to revitalize that passion, but passion is key. Second is quality. I think there's a lot of excitement and energy that you can bring to the table when you're passionate about your product based on the quality of what it is you're delivering, why it's different than your competitors. It's that unique selling proposition that you have. The quality is also very important because what it does is it allows you to really emphasize how you're going to over deliver for your clients. Now, quality doesn't necessarily mean you're the best. I mean, McDonald's does a phenomenal job, not because it has the best hamburger. I like them, I eat them, but
Yes.
it's the consistency that they're definitely banking on. I know when I go to London and I get tired of eating foreign food, I can go to a McDonald's and get something that is a comfort food and it's something I can expect. So there's something to be said about consistency. The third issue is then commitment. Commitment is the business owners I've interacted with. Come heck or high water, they're going to get it done. They're going to clean the windows, take out the garbage. If the client needs something done in the evening, they're going to stay late. If they need it taken care of on the weekend, they're going to do it over the weekend. They put in the long hours, they're committed. And where the business needs them, they step in. And as business owners and leaders, they set that example. And as they show that commitment, they again and again set that standard for what their employees and customers can expect. The fourth is knowledge of the numbers. They appreciate the numbers. They come to value the accounting information they have. They see its worth in the business. They use the accounting information to make intelligent, informed business decisions. So those four things are critically important to what I consider the success of the individual as they're running the business. The fifth that I throw in there is personal time. Some of us, myself included, we're workaholics. We work very, very hard at what we do. We don't mind doing what we're doing. In fact, it's hard to break away from it. So there needs to be a deliberate effort to have personal time. So that's that fifth thing. That personal time is to not neglect the family, the hobbies we have, those ways to recharge ourselves. So that's how I like to define the 5 elements or keys to success.
I love that, Roger. That's a really helpful framework to think about success for yourself as a leader in your company. And that last one, especially, that feels like that's the one that I'm glad you added the fifth. The one that can get away from folks in this space the fastest is the why, right? Like all those things answer the why in some ways, but ultimately, instead of just serving your business like a robot for hours on end, for years on end, and then waking up one day and wondering, what did I just do? To keep in mind that personal motivation and lifestyle or rhythms of rest, whatever those things are that are, again, going to be personally motivating beyond just the business. That's something we value a lot as well and try and coach on. So I really appreciate you saying that. Roger, that was super helpful. We covered a ton of ground in about that last, we're almost at 30 minutes now. If I'm curious to step forward with you guys and have a conversation or get a free resource or start some email thread, whatever, what would you direct people to go do?
Well, first of all, connect with me on LinkedIn. I love those connections. Feel free to reach out to me and you can message me there. But visit us at universalaccounting.com. There in the navigation, you can actually find information regarding free resources. These are resources for owners of accounting, bookkeeping, tax businesses. You can go take advantage of those. I strongly encourage you to do those. They're part of our give back program to the accounting community. So those are essentially there to help you become that better leader, run a successful business, build the premier accounting firm. And it's also there that you can find in the navigation information regarding the podcast. I'm on all the platforms. So whether it's Apple, Spotify, wherever, definitely go check it out. It's the accounting podcast, if you will, for owners. And it's basically a weekly show that I have where I bring on the experts and we learn what it is you can do to offer premier accounting services, get paid what you're worth as the premier accounting firm in your area.
Oh, that's super helpful. Thank you, Roger. So go and visit their site, connect with Roger on LinkedIn, poke around, have a conversation, shoot him a message. He's a wealth of information, has a great team behind him as well. Roger, before we sign off, any final thoughts to our audience?
Yeah, very simple. If it's about accounting, it's universal.
Look at that. That's the tagline. Roger, thank you for your time. Thanks for joining us today. And everyone that listened in, tune back in. We'll have more episodes coming up in the next weeks. And we'll also have resources. Probably, I'm guessing we'll have my speech from GrowCon, possibly even hitting our podcast or at least as a resource on our site. So if you want to hear me speak at Roger's event and then maybe dig into other resources that come out of that, there might be some things you can get. Feel free to follow up with us on our site and Roger, and maybe GrowCon next year. If you're not going this year, keep that on your radar. And thank you again. We're so glad to have you for a second time, and maybe we'll have a third sometime in the next year.
Happy to. Take care.
Thank you, Roger.